Now, okay, now after some, camera fiddling, because we still have...
Yeah, we don't have our usual car mount. We moved it to the rental for our trip and haven't put it back yet.
Yeah, so, another movie corner. This time we went to see the Blue Beetle, which, I might have started a popcorn bucket collection.
This is a Disney level popcorn bucket too. This is not just we slapped a design on a normal ass bucket. This is a Disney World level popcorn bucket.
This is a, full scarab themed. But anyway,
so
I think this is the first superhero themed movie corner.
I think so. So let's start off with our usual disclaimer. We are spoiler heavy here. Either click away or, just acknowledge that you don't care about the spoilers. Don't bitch at us that you got spoiled, because I'm telling you right now, spoiler heavy.
Yeah. So, I think this is the first and only DCEU movie that I actually enjoyed watching. Period.
I also enjoyed, like Wonder Woman, but yeah, this is the first one that I think I would actually choose to watch, repeatedly.
I watched Wonder Woman with Sarah and Gloria when it first came out, but I would have to re-watch it because that was a week before we met.
Was it really that long ago?
Yes. And, my depression at that time had set in, and I was,
That's right, because it was Wonder Woman 2 that we saw together.
Correct. We watched that at home. And we watched that with our ex.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about him.
Nah, that's why I didn't refer to him. Either way.
I mean, you quite literally brought him up, but either way.
No, I was just saying our ex.
Yes, either way.
So, first things first. A lot of people don't even know who Blue Beetle is.
I certainly didn't.
The only reason I know anything about Blue Beetle is because as a fan of Linkara, I have watched every video he's ever done, and he's done an entire retrospective on both versions of Blue Beetle.
I just have to say, I like Blue Beetle. I love him. But can I get a comic about Nana? For fucking real, though. No, if you've seen the movie, that gun was bigger than her. Best character, favorite character, hands down.
So, the main concept, first things first, this Blue Beetle follows the third, it's either the second or third incarnation of the character.
It looked like the second according to the movie, unless there was one before Earth.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's the concept of artifact chooses its user mindset, and tech billionaire wants it, but the item doesn't choose them.
Because even magical / extraterrestrial host choosing items understand the rich ain't worth shit.
Right? So, basically, Jaime, the film follows Jaime Reyes, and, he just graduates college. His family's trying to save their home because, housing problems, because they fucking tripled their rent. But he ends up working for Cord Industries by meeting Jennifer Cord, who is trying to stop her aunt from, messing with this scarab. So Jennifer steals the scarab, gives it to Jaime, and the scarab chooses him. So it gets to a point where, the two of them are mentally fighting, and yeah.
Alright, my dude got robbed. They literally put his name as Dr. Sanchez when his whole thing was very clearly that is not his name. Come on, IMDb.
No, that's the point of the character. He's a throwaway. His name really didn't matter.
Also, I would like to point out, anyone who's watched What We Do in the Shadows, fucking Guillermo cannot catch a damn break, apparently.
Either way, so first things first, Susan Sarandon plays a great bitch.
Yes.
So for the main villain, make Lex Luthor even more of a bitch. Like, same concept, just wants power for themselves and all that kind of crap. But she didn't realize who Susan Sarandon even was until I mentioned Rocky Horror.
I'm also looking through her IMDb to see what else I know her from. I also had to open IMDb to make sure I got characters' names straight.
She's literally been in so much shit from the 70s to now, babe. So,
Good lord. Give me a second. We gonna be here a minute.
yeah, you're gonna be there for a minute. Like, Rocky Horror was the beginning of her career.
Scrolling. Jesus Christ.
But
this woman could retire now and not have to work another day in her life.
So basically, it's another one of those MacGuffin movies where the main character gets a MacGuffin and has to protect themselves from the people who want said MacGuffin.
My God, I finally got to the 90s.
I told you she's in a lot of shit. Did it just reboot?
No, it went to thanks and soundtrack. Hold on. I went too far. So, why do you have 364 self-credits? Jesus. Okay.
Because it's Susan Sarandon. Anyway. So, while I think the reason this movie worked better than other DCEU is because the characters actually have a fucking personality. Everyone is not just a cardboard copy of the same dreary, the world is bullshit mindset that Zack Snyder likes to shove down people's face.
I also really think that has a lot to do with the fact that this wasn't the whitest white cast you've ever seen on a screen.
Right?
I am not, obviously, with my
Batman's
pasty
a
ass.
fascist.
That's funniest line. I'm obviously not, with my pasty ass, in much of a position to comment on the representation in this film. However, I did notice, looking at the credits, a lot of the names look like they are, in my uneducated opinion, look like they're actually, people who would have something to say on a movie about a Latino
You can say
hero.
they're not white.
Yeah. It looks like they did a lot of casting and hiring just of everything behind the scenes from people who know what they're talking about for a hero coming from this background. Which I think is a lot of the reason why the movie works, because it seems to me like a lot of, the people doing the decision making actually understood what they were trying to get at.
Well, this literally feels like, unlike Snyderverse, where, every decision is the opposite of how the characters actually act and think in the comics, this got Reyes perfectly. Mind you, there's a lot more arguing with the suit in the comics, because it's kind of like...
I love when the suit just knows Spanish. That was great.
It's kind of... Well, it was
I figured she got it from his brain.
Yeah.
But still, just...
But for those who haven't seen the movie or don't know what Blue Beetle is, if you've seen Iron Man, this is Jarvis and Tony if Jarvis had a mind of its own without wanting to take over the planet.
Take Iron Man and Venom, put them into one thing. That's this.
Basically, but that's basically what the whole movie's about. It's a whole MacGuffin where the rich woman wants the item, and the person who has said item is defending it. Mind you, that whole plot is cliche, which is why I gave it a lower score than a 10 out of 10. But
I really want to know what you want them to do other than the cliches.
something original.
Ma'am, there is nothing new under the sun. At this point, with as many stories exist, you're not going to get something wholly new. Tropes exist for a reason.
You're a trope. A transmasculine.
You tried so hard to make that work, and it still fell flat.
And your point.
Fell flatter than I want my chest. Anyway.
Well, give me to the... Either way.
Told you if I could Venmo you some titty, I would. Anyway, we're getting off topic.
Majorly.
So,
what did you like?
honestly...
Other than Nana.
Jaime was great, but his family stole the show. Like, his sister... Hold on, I didn't have my, Please, movie theaters, have your caption readers functional. They help. Milagro. Okay, his sister Milagro was freaking great.
Fucking George Lopez is one of my...
George Lopez stole every scene he was in.
So, I am a huge fan of George Lopez, minus, fucking Shark Boy and Lava Girl, but we don't talk about that
I'm a
atrocity.
huge fan of George Lopez, including Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
That movie is an atrocity, but we're not
Why
talking
do you
about
think
it.
I love it?
I've already torn that apart as superhero critic. We're not doing that.
We haven't done a movie corner on it, though.
Still have to do the fucking Netflix sequel.
Wait, there was a sequel? Where was I?
It's on. It was released like 2 years ago on Netflix. I brought it up multiple times and we just never watched it.
Yeah, because every time I brought it up, you quickly changed the subject, and I'm ADD enough to go along with it.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, changing subject. But George Lopez stole the show.
Every scene he was in, he stole.
Basically, George Lopez was, Jaime's Uncle Alfred, basically.
Take Dale Gribble, make a Mexican. I'm sorry. That's kind of what it is.
What is wrong with you?
You have fucking cameras, man.
Look,
Like, he's
his
so...
fucking car.
He's great.
They destroyed Taco!
He has a Tacoma that he named Taco. Oh my god. That truck was a character in and of itself, alright? That truck's seen some shit.
Yeah. Okay, it's got no bumper anymore.
It was the tailgate, not the bumper. It was also leaking shit on the interstate in that one scene. That truck should not have made that trip back. I'm sorry. But he's a fucking great character. I love him.
But, so basically, Jaime's given the MacGuffin. It attaches to him right away.
The scene in which it does it is hilarious.
So, he has no idea what's going on, so he's like, what the fuck? It went up his ass!
Again, that would be Lopez stealing the scene.
But, once they start their symbiosis, and they actually start to, understand each other, they have... I love the dream sequence when he's being tortured. It kind of brings in the Mexican culture of crossing over with the candles.
Where every culture has their different death traditions, it kind of...
I don't know the specific name of it.
I don't know either.
But, the whole Coco
is
based around it.
From what little we know about it, it seems to have pulled from it. Someone else, I'm sure, has more to say about that, because they probably know more.
Yeah, so there's a scene where he's being tortured because they're trying to take the scarab away from him and don't care if he dies in the process.
Like, download it into their horrible tech.
Yeah, but his, since it's spoiler heavy, his dad ends up dying in the movie, which that scene was great until that point because emotions. But he comes back in a mental, what would be the word? Daydream, I guess.
It's like T'Challa's father in Black Panther.
Basically.
That same kind of meeting the loved one's spirit crossover dream sequence.
Basically, which I love the T'Challa stuff. Still need to review Black Panther 2.
Mm-hmm.
But that'll be for next year's summer special. Because this is still year of the sequel. I am focused. I'm continuing from what you said. This is still year of the sequel, and when I actually get back into.
That's not focused on the movie that we're talking about.
Either way,
it wasn't focused.
Either way, it's as focused as my brain can get.
Yeah, that's true.
Did not have to agree with that.
Come on, let's go. It's hot.
So, it's hot. So,
yeah, we're sitting in the parking lot with the windows down because we're gonna die of heat stroke if we have them up.
Because the AC is not running while we're recording. Anyway, but it's basically the full concept. Like I've said, bad guy wants MacGuffin. MacGuffin chooses its hero. Typical, superhero story that's been done to death. But what can I say? Yeah, I'll when we do the movie corners on the superhero stuff, there will be, fuller in-depth reviews when I do the critic episode on it.
And as someone who's coming at these overviews and reviews from a literary background, not a criticism background, I really need to introduce this woman to the concept of tropes and why you are going to see certain stories repeated in certain types of...
that.
Yes, but you bitch every time it does a story that's already been done, not understanding there's only so many ways you could do a superhero movie.
It is not that I don't understand the trope or cliche. It is my job as a comic book critic to point out how often those tropes and cliches are done. It is my job to point that out. Bite me.
It's okay, I'll get her into a literary criticism class at some point.
This is what I have to put up with, people. Save me. Stop staring at me like that.
You act like you were one driving.
What? What does driving have to do with anything?
To save you from what? Your fucking ride home?
But, like I said, I honestly think this was the only DCEU movie that I enjoyed. I think I would have liked Wonder Woman a lot more if I wasn't depressed when I saw the movie.
But this movie just, all of the characters played off of each other so well. The chemistry on screen just was...
You actually feel like you're watching a real family.
Yeah. Oddly enough, the romantic chemistry is the stuff that I didn't quite vibe with, but that's just because it felt secondary.
But that's one of the things I like about that, because their relationship, while it was building, it wasn't, oh my god, I automatically fall in love with this person. They had multiple times to actually, seal the kiss, but...
it was the instant crush thing, but he's a 22-year-old guy. That's gonna happen. His rational brain is not in on that decision making. And
they don't even kiss throughout the movie.
It just felt like you could have cut the whole romance angle and not lost anything, which isn't
and then
necessarily
built onto it. And if I don't know if they're gonna make a sequel,
well, they should. Yeah, it isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just it didn't need to be there, but it also didn't detract from anything, so I can't really complain about it.
Well, what I don't know, because no one knows what's going on. Aquaman 2 is the last movie that's going to be considered DCEU. After Aquaman 2 comes out in November, which, by the way, we are not watching because I will not, support Amber Heard. When I go to do the review for it, I will get that movie secondhand, so nothing I make will go to her. That being said, no one knows what WB and DC are doing with the Gunn reboot that starts with, the new Superman movie.
Are you melting? Because you just keep getting further and further.
I am melting, yes.
Let's wrap it up.
But, so, because no one knows what they're actually doing, I don't know, if these end credit stingers are even worth paying attention to, because I couldn't see The Flash in theaters because I would have died.
Seizure warnings all over the place.
So I might do a movie corner when it hits HBO Max on that. Ow. Just like with Spider-Man. But other than that, I don't know what they're doing with the Stingers, or even if the DCEU is even going to be connected to the Gunverse, which is what people are calling it. So, that being said, what would you give? I think it's an 8 out of 10. It is first off, it's the funniest DC movie. You connect with the characters more. The characters don't feel like paper cut, copy and paste.
Cutouts.
And, they're not everybody's goddamn brooding all the goddamn time.
And the big names that they put in actually felt like they cared about the project, not like they were doing it for a paycheck.
Like fucking Lopez, you could tell he cared about this character.
You can tell he probably showed up to set half drunk in character. And if he didn't, he should have.
And Susan Sarandon, she was a great Vicky.
She's a great villain.
It's not the first time she's played a villain either.
9 out of 10 for me, just because the sound mixing I felt could have been better in some places. And for once, I'm not complaining about how loud the background noise was. I wanted the soundtrack, like the music track, bumped up in some of those fight scenes, and the
we gotta
fight
talk about
down.
that. So, like I said, this is the third Blue Beetle character. The other two are connected into the plot of the movie. Which is what I expected from, character reveals. But when they find Ted Kord's Beetlemobile,
and they use it to storm the fortress, and you learn that Nana was a revolutionary, and I really want her backstory. Can we please just get a movie about her?
It's hilarious.
Go Marvel, make a spin-off series. Make a 5-episode series about her, please.
But it's hilarious watching them freaking destroy all these no-name minions and a giant spider mech to Motley fucking Crew kickstart my heart.
I would like to point out,
hilarious.
Jaime said no killing. Uncle Rudy don't play by that rule, apparently. Because that dude was very dead. Several of them were very dead.
And that's one of the things. The Scarab wants to just kill anything trying to hurt Jaime, and eventually, actually listens to it. And at the end, stops Jaime from killing the guy. Which is a plus. So, that being said,
I will say that's the difference from Venom, because Venom would have been like, yes, we're eating him.
Nom noms. But I liked it. I really enjoyed it. And this is coming from someone who has, and you can ask this one. You can ask my cousin Lexi. I don't like the DCU.
Not at all. She likes the animated movies, not the live
if
action.
you have watched any of my DCEU movies or reviews, you'll know I can't stand any of them. I've kind of avoided sitting through a lot of them for Critic, but I might do what I'm doing next year, because next year I want to catch up with all the Marvel stuff. Mm-hmm. So next year I'm gonna, knock out all of Phase 4 and the couple of movies that have been scattered that I haven't reviewed yet. Mm-hmm. I might do 2025 as catching up with the DCEU. So, look forward to that stuff. That being said, thank you for watching, and go check out Blue Beetle.